That comes the heat wave. Here's how to prepare for the unwelcome but unavoidable heat. First, tune into your TV or radio and listen for the latest weather forecasts. Try to stay indoors. Refrain from extreme activities, particularly the elderly or those with pre-existing health conditions. If you must go outside, walk slowly, find shade, wear light-colored, loose clothing. To avoid sunburn, protect your skin with sunscreen, wide-brimmed hats, or sun parasols. For those working outside, take frequent breaks and drink water, even if you don't feel thirsty. If you're inside, block UV rays and keep the temperature between 26 and 28 degrees Celsius. Get to know the signs of heat stroke. If you see anyone showing heat stroke symptoms, immediately call 119 or 1339, the Emergency Medical Information Center. We can't beat the summer sun, but let's do all we can to stay healthy this summer. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM, Busan Yonga Bangsong.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Welcome, welcome. How did the first day of July go for all of you? Well, I don't know about you, but I definitely had the fan on all night, and I even turned on the air conditioner twice last night. As uncomfortable as we may be personally, let's also make sure that we check up on our loved ones, especially the elderly ones, people who are important to us but might be older, as experts continue to emphasize that extreme heat has a greater impact on health in elderly people. So how about another question for you right now? Did you turn on your AC yesterday? I would love to know. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Wednesday, July 2nd on BEFM, 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. And actually, some of you already answered the question, did you turn on the AC yesterday? The first comments I'm seeing is, 더워. Like things like that. That's just, our conversation, how we kind of greet each other these days, right? Like, how hot has it been? And so I just want to once again remind you, and you probably heard the spot right before a program about the heat, extreme heat and things like that. So let's be careful out there. It was this time a year ago when that fatal accident by Seoul City Hall happened. You probably remember this one. This was where an elderly driver's vehicle ended up, going the wrong way up a road, running into and killing 9 pedestrians. This accident raised awareness and alarm over the safety of elderly drivers. But in that year, the rate of accidents caused by senior drivers reached its highest since record-taking began. And according to the Korea Road Traffic Authority, or KOROAD, the number of such senior-caused accidents jumped by over 36% between the years 2020 and 2024. And this is despite there being fewer traffic accidents overall, with over 60, the age of 60 drivers now having caused 21% of the total number of accidents. So, experts say that the decline in physical and cognitive function from aging may be a cause of this uptick in accidents. In fact, over a quarter of drivers who caused accidents from confusing or misoperating the brake and gas pedals were senior drivers as well. And this was the cause of the accident in the Seoul City Hall case. These cases have led to discussions about, and policy as well, on conditional driver's licenses or seniors voluntarily turning in their licenses. But they haven't really been effective. Another solution is to install pedal assistant systems where the car automatically suppresses sudden accelerations even when the driver makes a mistake. And they would do so by using sensors and cameras. The National Police will launch a pilot program next month with over 800 senior drivers. So changes are coming, but I don't know, are they catching up to the rate of aging in the country? That is a question I think we need to pose to ourselves. Now, it's time for a text topic. We're going to be talking about coffee later on in the program. So here is our question for you. At what age did you start drinking coffee? Do you stop drinking coffee at a certain time in the day or are you not affected by the caffeine at all? 자, 나는 커피 몇 살서부터 마셨다. 나는 몇 시부터 카페인 안 마신다. 혹은 카페인의 영향을 안 받는다. So, I'll go first. I started drinking coffee way late. Like, my body, not that tolerant of caffeine. However, I do enjoy it now. Like, iced Americano. It's like a staple these days because it's so hot. I think I started drinking in university. Coffee, not drinking alcohol. Coffee. And then nowadays, my last drink of coffee is around 2 p.m. If I drink beyond that, I just stay up all night. So that's just me. So send in your messages. I want to hear about your story. Send them into BEFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송 to find our channel. You can click on the logo to subscribe and log in and chat with our other waivers. From your phone, pound 9050 shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also send in messages through Kakao Talk. It is absolutely free. You can send in your messages and photos as well. And the ways you can tune into our program, Morning Wave in Busan. First up, through the radio, 90.5 or 103.3 FM in Busan. That's on the radio once again. We're streaming live on YouTube as we speak. You can check it out again later on at your leisure. We have the BEFM app and the Patbang app. Both are free to download and easy to use. It's Wednesday, so what do we have in store for you? We have Lian in hour number 1 with Now and Next. In hour number 2, Jennifer's coming in for Work in Progress for our special interview. Normally here on Morning Wave in Busan, we do lots of hard-hitting political stories or stories, breaking news stories from all around the world and domestically. And the thing is this, even if you aren't heavily into fashion, you've probably heard of this name, Anna Wintour, right? Well, she is apparently stepping down from Vogue US. There are many Vogue publications, but why is this important? Well, first of all, Vogue is kind of known as, in air quotes, the fashion Bible, but we're going to find out about the significance of this and her impact on the fashion industry. That's coming up in hour number 2, and I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:07, and this is News Overview. Prosecutor General resigns, warns against rushed reform. Prosecutor General Shim Woo-jung handed in his resignation yesterday while expressing concerns over Lee Jae-myung, the government pushing for prosecutorial reform. Special counsel and Yoon Suk-yeol torn over next summons. The special counsel led by Cho Eun-suk has again rejected former President Yoon Suk-yeol's request to postpone his summons scheduled for this Saturday, July 5th by 1 hour. No change in radiation levels over North Korea's suspected nuclear waste discharge. The Unification Ministry said yesterday that no meaningful changes in radiation density levels have been detected in the Yellow Sea following claims that North Korea released unpurified radioactive wastewater. Record June heat wave leads to surge in heat-related illnesses. The number of patients visiting the country's emergency rooms with heat-related symptoms has increased by almost 20% in 1 year amid the record-breaking heat. U.S. Senate narrowly passes Trump's major tax and spending bill. Senate Republicans narrowly passed the tax and spending bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill pushed by President Donald Trump, ending weeks of debate and putting it closer to enactment. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I have to say, though, because I did turn on the AC twice briefly late last night. I woke up I'm a little tired, but I'm okay because I had my morning coffee. So speaking of coffee, when did you start drinking coffee?
When I turned 20. And whenever I hang out with my friends, we go to cafe.
Yes.
But I didn't have a sweet tea at the time. And now I still don't have sweet tea. Yeah. So when I go to the cafe, I usually go for either coffee or a cup of tea, warm coffee, a warm tea.
Yes.
I didn't really like that much, but I just kept ordering this kind of tea or coffee. But it has grown on me, in fact.
Oh, it's grown on you, really?
So now I'm drink coffee twice in a day, maybe. But there's a strategy of mine that I drink coffee in the morning, but I drink decaf in the evening to not stay up.
Yeah, because you don't want it to disturb your sleep, right?
Yeah, I'm very much affected by the caffeine.
Yeah,
usually.
me too. Okay, thanks for sharing a little bit about yourself. We're going to jump into today's local news. Big day in Busan. I hear that Busan Mayor Park Hyun-jun just marked his third year in office, right?
Yeah, he did. He held a press conference to look back on what's changed and to lay out where the city is headed next. He said, Busan's now seeing waves of innovation all across the board.
Yes, so any actual numbers to back this up?
He shared that Busan has attracted 14 trillion won in investment over the past 3 years, 22 times more than in 2021.
Yes.
They've also nearly hit 1 million regular jobs for the first time ever. And youth employment is at a record high of 46.7%.
Yes. Well, that sounds like a lot of momentum. Did he touch upon things like tourism and, of course, the youth?
Yeah, tourism's booming. Busan hit the 1 million foreign tourism mark faster than ever. It's also been named one of the Asia's top 100 travel spots for 2 years running.
Yes.
On the culture side, they are opening the new Busan Concert Hall, restarting the Opera House project. It's also pushing hard for the early opening of the Gadeok-do New Airport and the undergrounding of Gyeongbu Line.
Well, what about some of the, I'll call them tougher issues? For example, the Expo bid.
Yeah, he said he accepts the Expo bid failure humbly. But when it comes to Korea Development Bank move, he's not backing down. He will keep working with the central government to keep making it happen. And as for the Gadeok-do New Airport, Mayor Park said he's been in talks to get the bidding process going again.
Yes.
He expects the new cabinet won't oppose the project. So once the new government is fully in place, the things could move forward.
Yes. And I hear that he also visited some major construction sites yesterday. Is that correct?
Right. He was out in Gangso district visiting the site of 3 major logistics centers, Lotte Shopping, BGF Retail, and Coupang.
Yes.
Between them, there's nearly 1 trillion won in private investment and over 6,000 new jobs expected. He said Busan's top-tier logistic infrastructure and strong government support are laying out the foundations for sustainable growth.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see how it all unfolds over, of course, the end of this year, which we have started the second half of next year. Let's move on. I hear that this something about art and sports programs, and it's kind of connected to the whole 15-minute city policy. So what's going on here? Can you give us details of what's happening?
Absolutely. Busan is rolling out a new set of culture and sports programs like until July, this July, under its 15-minute city initiative, where everything you need is within a 15 minutes.
Yes. What's the theme?
It's called Closer to Home. What would you like to do? Basically, it's all about bringing fun and wellness closer to where people live. The Busan City Art Organization is going on-site to perform at places like Tasaran Culture Hall and Mora Social Welfare Center.
I see. Well, it sounds like they're taking the arts right to the people where they live. What about films?
The Busan Cinema Center is screening films outdoors. You can catch Miracle in Pansong-idong and Amazon's Elevation in Dongguit District. There's a well-being twist too. 7 local community groups are offering art therapy in 23 neighborhood health centers.
Yes.
For residents going through tough times. Think painting, dancing, music, all to support mental health.
Yes. But what about sports? Anything active on that agenda?
Of course, there's a full lineup of sports and fitness activities too.
Right.
There'll be water park days in Yeongdo and water sports in Busanjin and weekday fitness sessions. Plus, on July 13th, a national dodgeball tournament at Spowan Park and a marathon around Taejongdae on the 20th.
Wow, dodgeball. So we're talking about like Pigu, right? Which is highly popular. I see. Sounds like a really full summer schedule. Where can people check out the full list?
Check out all the events and sign up at Busan시 통합 예약 system or through Busan's sports portal or at 으라차차 생활 체육 포털.
I see. Well, thanks for giving us all the details on that. You know, I mentioned yesterday how now officially all the beaches are open across Busan, and I hear that jellyfish once again causing trouble at Haeundae Beach this year.
You're right. Because of climate change, jellyfish sightings have been increasing every year. And now the plan to install jellyfish net at Korea's biggest beach, Haeundae, has fallen through.
Yes, and so it doesn't sound great, especially with the beach season opening once again. What went wrong?
Every year the net gets put up around the time the beach opens, but this year it looks like this won't happen. And without this, we wouldn't be able to keep jellyfish from getting too close.
Yes.
Usually they've argued over cost, but this time the gap was too large and wide, and the company pulled out. They tried to pick a backup company and to mediate, but talks broke down, so it's very unlikely that the net will go up this year.
Well, that's very unfortunate because we want that net up, right, to keep the jellyfish away. What's the plan now? Hope for the best, or is there something more concrete than that?
As a backup, they are adding more jellyfish removal boats. They're starting running 1 boat yesterday, and 3 more could be operating as early as next week.
But are they going to be enough on their own, these patrol boats?
Probably not. Boats alone might not be enough to stop people from getting stung. Take Songjang Beach, for instance. They only had boats, no net. And even with fewer visitors than Haeundae, they had twice as many sting incidents last year.
So that is a big difference. Any more boats coming? I mean, can we at least expect that?
The district's watching closely. If jellyfish appear in large numbers, they say they will bring in a 5th boat. But yeah, without the net, this summer could be rough.
Yes, so that means we have to be vigilant. If you're out on the beach, in the waters, be aware of the jellyfish. All right, next, I hear that there is a bit of a race here in Busan, something to do with breakwater.
Yes, in Busan's marine city, waves often crest over the shore during typhoons.
Yes.
So the city is running to install underwater seawall to stop it from happening again.
Well, it does sound kind of urgent because this happens, and we've seen all the footage and the photos of when that happens. Has construction already started?
Yeah, it's been non-stop day and night since mid-June right off the coast of Marine City.
Okay.
They're putting in a little under 70 billion won to build this. It should be finished by the end of 2027.
So it's a huge undertaking, right?
It is. They've got a giant machinery and dozens of workers living on site, building cement pillars under the sea.
Yes.
The tricky part, they have to finish the groundwork at least a month before any typhoons hit. So the cement can properly set. That's why the night shift.
Yes. But you said round the clock, so I'm guessing not everyone is thrilled about the noise.
You got it. Some residents are complaining about the light and sound from the late night work. Technically, the noise level is within the legal limit. But at night, small sounds can feel much louder.
Yes, indeed. How are the residents reacting to all of this?
Some say it's for our safety, let's just put up with it.
Yes.
The city says the groundwork has to fully harden before they can start placing the big concrete, probably after Chuseok. So they added they will try to balance the construction needs with resident concerns related to noises.
Yes, indeed. It's a tough situation, right? The noise versus safety, though. Safety, trumps everything, though. So let's see what happens. Hopefully, they'll get this done before the typhoons roll in. Thank you for all the updates, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Sejin.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, and I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning.
Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan. Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan. Morning Wave in Busan.
It is now 7:19. It's time for your traffic report. There was an accident on the Dongso overpass going out of the city right around Jinyang ramp. It's been cleared, but there is still residual backup. It's congested on Mandok-daedo from Binam to Mandok intersection. It's also backed up on Gwangan Bridge, that top portion. Pretty much always congested in the morning. Also, there is traffic on Chungjang-daedo from Jungangdong intersection to Chungjang overpass. It's also looking slow on Luno-Samsung-daedo from Myeongji underpass to Shino Bridge. Currently, it's 27 degrees Celsius here in Busan with a heat wave special report, 폭염특보, and a heat wave impact report, 폭염 영향 예보 over the city. The daytime highs will go up to 33 degrees Celsius under clear skies for an even hotter day than yesterday. Across the nation, most of the country is under a heat wave special report, with daytime highs expected to go up to 36 degrees in some areas. Chances of showers in parts of the capital area, Gangwon and Gyeongsang. And this was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're talking about, besides the coffee and the fans and ACs and all that, I mean, there's a multitude of waggling going on in our chat room. But first up with the coffee. When did you first have coffee?
I mean, I think with all the Korean kids, with that little bit of drops of leftover from mom's
Guests.
mocha gold. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the little paper cups and it's where all the sugar has like melted. So it was great. And then I think for real, paying for my own coffee.
Yes.
High school.
High
There's like a little
school.
coffee stand on my way to work. I started with white chocolate mochas, which again
Is that
is
really
like,
coffee?
I mean, I was about to say, again, mostly syrup and like 90% milk with like a shot of espresso. But then you like wean yourself into coffee. Isn't that what everyone does? I do
Yes.
want to know, what was your first coffee?
Was it straight up?
Exactly. I mean, does anyone go straight into espressos or Americanos? And then
highly
I've been,
doubt it.
I don't know, in the morning though, I do like at least a little bit of a splash of milk in my coffee because empty stomach and
Yes.
yeah, all that. Yes.
But definitely it's a season for iced everything. We're going to jump into our first story. The presidential office announced a series of minister nominations earlier in the week. So let's go back and look at what some of the nominees have said regarding their their respective positions and what issues there may be.
Right. So first, let's start with the Justice Minister nominee, Jung Sung-ho. He yesterday spoke on various issues on his way into the confirmation hearing preparation office.
Yes.
The key point of attention here, of course, is his views on prosecutorial reform. Time and time again, That's been on the agenda, and it does receive significant pushback from the prosecution itself, as you've covered in news overview.
Yes.
So Chung said it wouldn't be appropriate to say that he's seeking to dismantle the entire organization of the prosecution. However, called for a reform that meets the views of the people.
Yes.
So what do the people want? He stated what they want is stability in the economy and livelihood. And there have been expectations for change in the prosecutorial system he calls it that's incited anxiety up until this point. However, he kind of tried to, because he does come from a heavy legislative background, he was a lawmaker, he added that some matters are ultimately for the legislature, 입법, and upon agreement by the ruling and the opposition parties. So he will get into the specifics once or when he is appointed minister.
Yes.
Chung also gave credit to the prosecution, kind of an olive branch of sorts, saying that he doesn't actually expect there to be a lot of pushback from prosecutors themselves because he said, in his words, with an exception of a very small number of what you would consider politically biased prosecutors, most of the prosecutors have pride and responsibility in serving the people.
I see.
But it is unclear how much that might be true versus wishful thinking because, again, as you said, just hours after this comment came out, Prosecutor General Sim Woo-jung tendered his resignation.
That's right. So that's one major story. And there's been some generally positive responses to the nomination of former KDCA chief, we all know her name, Chung Eun-kyung, to the role of health minister.
Right, so she's definitely back in the spotlight. She, of course, headed then it was the Korea Disease Control Center, which got promoted to Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, KDCA, under her leadership.
Right.
Chung Eun-kyung has been well known for her role in leading the country's COVID response, earning her various nicknames like the COVID warrior, I think virus vampire was one of them as well. And she earned a spot on the Times People of the Year 100 list back in 2020.
Yes.
So the Korea Medical Association, which is the biggest and the primary doctors' interest group, also welcomed this nomination. So the KMA issued a statement following the nomination that this is significant because she's a figure who has dedicated herself to overcoming a national crisis and is taking a major responsibility within the government.
Right.
They also heralded her experience. She is a Seoul National University educated doctor, as well as her reasonable attitude and a deep understanding of public medicine as factors that'll help in resolving the current medical crisis of the doctors' walkout.
Yes.
They also expressed hopes that she will step forward to active discussions regarding the current walkout over the medical school quota expansion.
But some opposition lawmakers have warned of a thorough vetting process.
Right, and as they should, as is their right. But PPP, People Power Party lawmaker and floor spokesperson Park Sung-hoon and PPP lawmaker Kim Mi-ae, they expressed regrets over the appointment. So here they're actually taking issue. They've accused her spouse of having purchased shares of companies that produce or manufacture masks and the COVID rapid test during the pandemic as potential conflicts of interest.
I see.
So as for the presidential office itself, they said that the nominee will address and explain these issues during the confirmation hearing and meet the people's understanding.
Okay, so that is another person who is in the news. We're going to stay with the presidential office for our next story with U.S. President Donald Trump's his tariff deadline looming. There is quite a bit of attention over when South Korea's new president will meet with him.
Right, because that's been a kind of an on and off will they, won't they type of a story. So U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in the works to schedule a trip to South Korea very soon as a part of his Asia trip. So according to the South Korean government, Rubio is planning on visiting Japan in the coming days and possibly to Korea for a 2-day trip. If it does happen, it'll be on July 8th and the 9th. And then to Malaysia for an ASEAN regional forum. That'll start on July 10th. So a high-ranking official from the presidential office said that if Secretary Rubio does visit Korea, he will likely sit down with his counterpart, National Security Advisor Wi Sung-rak, whom they've already met before during the NATO summit last month. But this would also mark the first visit to Korea by a high-ranking U.S. official since the launch of the new Lee Jae-myung administration.
Yes.
So therefore, this would open doors to discussions to a potential summit between President Lee Jae-myung and U.S. President Donald Trump.
Yes, and the big question is when might that be? Do we know?
Well, we know when that was supposed to be. That was on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Canada.
Right.
But of course, that fell through because President Trump left that summit early to address the Iran-Israel issue. So the South Korean government is of the position that they should push for a summit before August. And a lot of diplomatic experts are weighing in on late July to early August for that potential meeting.
Okay.
And according to presidential spokesperson Kang Yoo-jung, she said that negotiations are ongoing between the two nations and with the understanding that a Korea-U.S. summit is necessary. However, they've not pinned down a specific date, but we do know that when this summit happens, tariff talks and defense sharing costs will likely be the top issues.
Yes, indeed. Very important for both sides, but especially the Republic of Korea. We're going to switch gears, go to a different story. We've talked about this before, how loneliness can be detrimental to your health. But a new report shows that many people actually die of loneliness.
Right, and that figure is eye-opening. I've had to double, triple check. So loneliness may be another global pandemic. And according to the World Health Organization, the WHO, it kills 100 people every hour. Per hour. And I had to do a double take. But as unbelievable as this number might be, there is plenty of evidence. Let's go through that.
Okay.
So this is according to the WHO Commission on Social Connection. They released a report recently that highlights the devastating human costs of loneliness, 외로움, leading to an estimated 871,000 deaths worldwide every year. So that means not deaths in this case, but 1 in 6 people are affected by loneliness. But that's such an abstract feeling.
Right.
What is loneliness? Well, experts here describe this as this painful feeling arising from a disparity, a difference between desired versus actual social connections. And social isolation also refers to an objective lack of sufficient social connections.
So how does loneliness correlate to mortality?
Right. So the report says loneliness or social isolation, again, a little different, but they can increase risks of strokes, heart disease, diabetes, depression, anxiety, and even risks of suicide. And there are also other larger social impacts, especially for teenagers. Teens who are lonely, they have a 22% higher chance that they may actually have lower grades than their peers. For adults, they may have trouble finding jobs or staying at their jobs. And actually last Friday, Professor Jessie Hawk really emphasized the importance of emotional connection in academics. So there's ample evidence to back this up. So Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus highlighted the paradox of increasing isolation despite us having endless opportunities for connections, especially in this social media age.
Yes.
So he stated when it's left unaddressed, loneliness and social isolation can continue to cost society billions of dollars in terms of healthcare, education, and employment. And the WHO called on governments to integrate social connection into all of their policies.
Very important to know about. So thanks for reporting on that. Before we wrap up, let's get some changes we can expect in, we call it H1, the second half of the year.
Right. So latter half of 2025 is here.
H2, excuse me.
H2,
Yes.
right. We're still, I'm hung up on 2023. Yes. She's in H1. It's a thing.
Yes.
First, for banking in H2, deposit protection or deposit insurance, that's 예금자 보호한도, that's going to double, not today, but starting on September 1st.
Okay.
So it'll go up to 100 million won, 1억 won per bank, starting again on the first day of September. The current limit is half of that, 5천만 won, 50 million won. So this will apply to banks and credit cooperatives, and the amount includes interest on the principal amount, so keep that in mind.
Yes.
In other financial issues, National national scholarships, 국가 장학금, 국장, will go up by 400,000 won per month per student. About half of all university students, or 1 million students, will benefit from the government education grant.
Oh, okay. And there are some changes to family-related matters too.
Right. So the governments, both central and local, will be in charge of adoption from now on. So until that point, it has been privatized, and we have heard of stories of people really suffering under that system.
Yes.
So this will go into effect soon, July 19th. This includes the entire process, determining whether a child should be put up for adoption, the foster care system, and assessing prospective parents. Also for parents of young children, if you leave your workplace, if you quit voluntarily after using up your child leave or even flexible work hours, the company and you still get paid the benefits in full.
Oh, okay. So this might affect some of you out there. So
Right.
thank you for going over all the top news stories. And of course, we're checking with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
All right, listeners, we are ready for our first song of the morning. Very fitting to our text topic, 커피를 마시고 by 우범지대서. I'll be back after this.
괜찮아 네가 없는 나도 괜찮아 가끔씩 생각나는 날도 괜찮아 사실은 아직도 실감이 안 나나 봐 이렇게 오늘처럼 비 오는 날은 우리 함께 즐겨 들었던 네 노래 한참을 멍하니 그렇게 웃고 있어 yeah. Baby baby 그대는 카라멜 마키아토 여전히 내 입가에 그대의 이 달콤해 baby baby tonight baby 그대는 카페라떼 향보다 포근했던 그 느낌 기억하고 있나요 baby baby tonight baby 빛바랜 하늘색 커플티 조금씩 기억나지 않는 네 생일 여전히 내 맘은 이렇게 따뜻한데 yeah. 내게는 너무도 따뜻하고 향기로운 너 더는 아름답지 못한 것이제 그저 추억인 것
What a perfect song. And let's talk about our text topic. We're talking about coffee because it's related to a story coming up in hour number 2. At what age did you start drinking coffee? I said generally I started as an adult, but I do remember, Haley reminded me, this is going to date me, but it's okay. It wasn't the mixed coffee that I first tried when I first had that sip of coffee. It was back in the day, and some of you, especially in your 40s, you're going to remember this. When your parents had, or, somebody had guests over in Korea, I remember, I was visiting Korea during summer vacation, and my sungmo, my sungmo, she had made, it was the time where they had the dry freeze coffee, and you put it into the cup, and then they added, is it called preem or cream? Preemanji cream, you know what I'm talking about. The really sweet kind of tasting, dehydrated milk, but it was probably really bad for you. That mixed with like a spoonful of sugar, that's how it was usually made. And then the adults, they finished, chit-chatting, and then there was like a little bit of coffee left. I remember tasting it, and I was thinking, what is this like really sweet but bitter taste? That was the first taste. And then as an adult later on, yes, I started drinking coffee. And so many of you have coffee stories. First up, let's talk about this message from Souvenir, who says, 저는 커피 군대 갔다 온 뒤 23살부터 마셨고 카페인 영향을 거의 안 받아서 커피 섭취에 제한이 없습니다. Really? You're not affected by the caffeine? 너무 부러워요. I'm so jealous. 예전에 밤새겠다고 레드땡도 마셔봤는데 잠만 잘 잤어요. The energy drink, that one, that doesn't affect you at all. I took like a couple sips at it. I felt like my heart was beating so fast, like I was getting heart palpitations. So I stay away from the energy drinks. But wow, not affected by caffeine. So other people saying, Leslie, I started drinking coffee in high school. I can drink coffee all the way up to bedtime. Another one, Leslie, it doesn't affect my ability to sleep. Betty says, for me, I started during third year of high school. Occasionally, before entering college, I stopped drinking during the day. Yeah, for me too. 2 p.m. is the maximum for me. English Wiki says, I started in college. By grad school, I was doing 5 to 6 cups a day. That's a lot. Nowadays, I only drink 2 to 3 cups a day. Well, compared to the 5 to 6, that is only. Yes. Duly, one more. I started to drink coffee when I was 10 years old, and I stopped drinking coffee mostly around dinner time so I can sleep. 10 years old, 10살 때부터요? Oh, you're early coffee drinkers. Anyhow, thanks for sharing your experiences. Let's get to Lian's segment. All right, it's time for Now and Next. We have Lian in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
We're talking about coffee, you heard, right?
I need coffee.
Right now?
Yes.
When did you start drinking?
You know what? You talked about energy drinks because of our listeners said. I was so sensitive to all types of energy drinks plus caffeine in college. So coffee was my only thing that I would drink during final season. Just for like almost, it served the purpose.
Yes.
I never enjoyed it. I enjoyed the syrup. So it was always those caramel flavored hazelnut or the mocha with a lot of chocolate syrup. So I could basically say I didn't drink coffee until I got pregnant. And when there are things you can't do. You want to do so bad. And everyone was like, oh, you have to quit caffeine because you have a baby. And then that's when the coffee started smelling so good. Right. And I think I'm addicted to coffee even though I don't like coffee. I never liked coffee. So
I get it.
You know what? I started drinking when I was pregnant because I couldn't.
Drinking coffee.
Yeah, because not too much to affect the baby. But, just like started really enjoying the taste. And then after the baby came,
moms think we are so like we need sleep all the time. So then coffee became like a must. And then up until now, it's like every morning. But I can't drink coffee after 1 p.m. I can't sleep. I'm still that sensitive type to caffeine.
I hear you.
Yes.
All right. We're going to jump into now and next. What do you have for us?
Yes, I know it is quite hot these days. But we are going to talk about a very hot and sizzling place because it is becoming trendy to go to these saunas these days. But not particularly in Korea. I wanted to talk about a trend that's taking place globally because sauna is becoming a hot place for people to socialize and it's becoming this cultural trend. So I want to talk about starting with the reason why the sauna is becoming a very global trend is that a lot of the younger generation, they're drinking less alcohol. And, we always talk about, how the younger generation are so interested in well-being and health-oriented life. And so they're seeking, instead of alcohol, they're seeking healthier and more mindful ways to gather.
Yes,
and so sauna is becoming this alternative socializing hub for them.
It's like, okay.
Like, is it not understandable?
No. For the Gen Zs and, especially for the Gen Z, it's always like, what else are they going to make like hot and trendy? That wasn't so much so before, right?
Right.
Oh, they make everything trendy.
They're making all these things come back from the past. So I want to talk about UK first. They're a country that are leading this scene of social saunas. The number of these, we're not calling it sauna, we're calling it a social saunas. I'm going to explain
social
why.
Sauna.
Yes.
Okay.
They jumped from 45 back in 2023 to 147 in 2025 this year. So more than tripled in just 2 years.
Sure.
And globally, the sauna industry is booming as well. The market is projected to grow from 1.2 trillion won last year to up to 1.8 trillion won by 2030. So when we think of sauna, like in Korea, it's the hot tubs, right?
Yeah.
We don't think about the dry
sauna.
The saunas that the people in the West probably think about. So these are kind of not the hot tubs. In the UK, at least, we're talking about more of the dry saunas that are being very trendy. If we go over to Japan for a little bit, they're also, they're very famous for their sauna culture.
Yes.
But they're renovating all their saunas to be more hip and trendy. So, for example, they would have some room called left brain and right brain sauna experience.
What?
Where
what?
They're getting so medical. So they're using blue and amber lighting to stimulate different moods in your brain. So I looked up pictures of what this left brain, right brain room looks like. It looks like an EDM club room. Literally, there should be like a DJ standing on the corner. It's like blue rays coming out of these wall patterns. But apparently, people go in there. There's no alcohol is not allowed. So
dangerous.
Right. Yeah. You're in there to literally relax and simply breathe in. And Japan has some companies have called what's called Michelin. They created what's called a sauna Michelin.
Sauna.
Yeah, so there are companies now who go through so many of the saunas that exist in Japan and rate it. And they're thus far giving them the sauna Michelin. That's how much it's becoming so trendy to go.
Interesting.
And you might be wondering, so in Korea, all the saunas are nude, of course.
Yes. And so is it like that in other parts of the world? Like, are we doing the EDM party? I can't imagine. Sorry.
In the left brain, right brain room, all naked together. So full nudity is not so common.
Yes.
Neither in Japan, in these saunas that's becoming trendy, and over in London as well.
Okay.
So going back to, so a lot of people are wearing swimsuits basically when they're going to these saunas. So going back to the London, I talked about, the social saunas. They actually have DJs come into their rooms.
Really?
Right. To spin some tracks. And they call it a social club because, yes, you can take part in the sauna, but they have something like yoga on the side. Or they have like breathe work, how they help you with breathing and or journaling workshops. So it's becoming this one-stop social club where people go not for just for the sauna. And even New York also is hopping on the trend as well. They have like these ice baths and they have oxygen therapy. Do you know what oxygen therapy is?
What exactly is oxygen? That's like so high tech. It's like compared to like, just going to, the public bath. Like across the street or wherever, right?
Exactly. We're not talking about just hot tubs here.
Yes.
So oxygen therapy, did you know, there was one of the big spas here in the mall in Hyundai area. They used to have this room full of oxygen, but it's gone now because that's a thing of the past. But now they're bringing it back in New York. So basically it's this chambers, like individual pods.
Yes.
Where you can lie down fully clothed and they just put in 2 to 3 times more a higher amount of oxygen into
it's like
the
pure oxygen.
Yes,
is that what
pure
it is?
oxygen into the chamber, and then that's why you become, because your blood, their oxygen level increases. You're supposed to be more healthier. So it's becoming a very healthy trend for all of these people.
I wonder if in Korea that we have something like this, like what's his name, the New Jeans Snim coming to
DJ at the club.
DJ,
but why not?
sauna?
Why not? I think because saunas has been going away in Korea for a while now, right? They've been ever since COVID. A lot of them shut down.
That's true.
If you want a comeback, I think this is kind of the way to do it. Make it a social thing instead of just sitting in hot tubs.
Okay.
So to talk about the reasons why, I talked about briefly that, the MZ, the Gen Z generation are more health focused.
Yes.
But in one UK interview, a social sauna goer said, going to these social saunas is a much healthier and a cheap alternative to going to the pub. So these social saunas, they average to about £9, which translates to about 15,000 won, which is kind of a pricey for a Korean public bath.
Like a regular bath.
Yes. A little bit. But considering they have all these different activities they provide, it seems reasonable.
Sure.
And the guests can spend about 90 minutes sweating, cooling down, and talking, socializing without needing a pint
like of
alcohol to get personal and deep. So, I mean, that sounds like a much healthier choice. I would like that too. Let's not go... Because the day after you go out for drinks, it's quite miserable. Anyway.
머리 아파요?
I would rather,
hangover.
Yeah, but sauna 너무 시원하잖아요. 하고 나면.
그쵸, and you feel like so 뽀송해, and so like after. Yes. So I can see why people are getting on this bandwagon. Yes.
And I talked about different programs. So they even have so as we're in the sauna, we're kind of taking care of our bodies.
Yes.
But they also have mental health discussions on the side to really take care of what's going on inside as well. So, or like in London, they have mythology classes or storytelling sessions.
We need some of that here.
Doesn't that sound so fun?
And like, I would go with my girlfriends.
You want to go to the sauna with me and then take some mythology classes?
I would go in an instant.
Me too.
Yes, I would go.
Or like storytelling sessions. You sit like with your bikinis next to your friend
and then you're just like
stories.
Love it.
So I mean, Korea needs to bring this trend in because it's popping.
Yeah, we need a revamp.
Exactly.
Don't we? Because I mean, Korea's always at the forefront of everything.
Yeah.
But this one, I think we can take a page out of other countries, cultures, books. Why not?
Exactly. And another huge benefit of this is
what?
That it's a digital detox aspect of it because of course no phones are allowed. A lot of these saunas prohibit smartphones because also they get disconnected anyway.
Sure.
So for 1 to 2 hours, visitors, if you're visiting with your friends, you guys go into this zone, different zones, you digitally unplug and, really focus in the experience of what you're doing. Or whether it's
I have a question for our waivers out there. If you go to like a 찜질방 or like a public bath, do you take your phone with you?
Into the public bath? Like 목욕탕
난
아니에요?
목욕탕 안은 아니지만 I've seen people like all over the 찜질방, they all have their phones, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what's the point of going then?
Because 찜질방은, 그쵸.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm like,
in
really
Korea,
asking.
I feel like
Everybody has a phone.
물안까지만 아니면은 everyone has to have their phone
right,
on their
right.
body
somewhere all
like
the time.
somewhere all the time.
Right.
But Yes.
좀 그래요.
찜질방 옛날에는 그쵸.
Yes.
식혜와 계란 까먹으면서 계속
And it's just
얘기하고.
relaxing, you know,
Exactly.
chit-chatting,
Exactly.
taking naps. But everybody's on their phone.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, yes. But yes. Anything else you want to add?
That is it.
Okay. No, but I love the idea that they are bringing like mental wellness into this, as well as just lots of fun things like journaling and like, you know, just storytelling. I am all for it. So
And then DJing at the sauna with non-alcohol beverage. Damn it.
I don't know. We could get drunk in just a fun, right?
Right.
All right, we're going to wrap it up for today, but thank you for bringing us some really interesting trends with the sauna of all things. And we'll check in with you next week. Thank you, Lian.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, so it's time to wrap up hour number 1. We have a song request from Layla Neem, 커피 한잔 할래요? By Paul Kim. So enjoy. I'll be back at 8.
가벼운 바람이 깨우는 no breeze 너의 생각으로 시작하는 my everyday Breathe 뭔가 좋은 일이 생길 것 같은 절로 콧노래가 흘러나오는 그런 상상을 하게 단둘이서 영화를 보자 할까 시시하진 않을까 어떤 얘기로 너를 웃게 할까 용기가 없는 나 커피 한잔 할래요 커피 한잔 할래요 두 입술 꼭 깨물고 용기는 그만 커피 한 잔에 빌린 그대를 향한 나의 마음 보고 싶었단 말하고 싶었죠 그때도 같나요 그대 나와 같나요 그대도 조금은 내 생각했나요 오늘은 내가 그댈 더 많이 웃게 할게요 이대로 시간이 멈추기 Freeze 그저 흘러가는 시간들 Oh freeze 처음과는 많이 다른 요즘 너와 나 느꼈던 가슴 속 떨림 넌 기억할런지 처음 만났던 그곳에 가자 추억이 가득한 커피 한잔 할래요 커피 한잔 할래요 두 입술 꼭 깨물고 용기는 그만 커피 한 잔에 빌린 그대를 향한 나의 마음 보고 싶었단 말하고 싶었죠 그때도 같나요 그대 나와 같나요 가끔 그날의 우릴 생각하나요 내가 더 많이 웃게 해주겠다던 그 약속 아직 나 잊지 않았어요 커피 한잔 할래요 두 입술 꼭 깨물고 용기는 그만 커피 한 잔에 빌린 그대를 향한 나의 마음 보고 싶었단 말하고 싶었죠 그때도 같나요 그대 나와 같나요 그대도 조금은 내 생각했나요 오늘은 내가 그댈 더 많이 웃게 할게요
경제진흥원이 함께합니다.
During the summer monsoon season, Korea is often met with heavy rainfalls. Various accidents, including landslides and building collapses due to weak grounds, may occur during this time. So here are some tips that could keep you safe from long and wet monsoon season in Korea. First, regularly check and maintain water and drainage channels. Second, fix objects that could be blown away by severe wind, such as boards, TV networks, and others. Third, residents who live near areas prone to landslides, flooding, and sinkholes should be aware of the location of a nearby shelter as directed by authorities. And lastly, be aware of getting electric shocks. Always take preventive measures when using electric appliances to protect against electric shocks. Above all, staying informed of what to do is the most important. Tune in to BEFM Busan 영어방송 for emergency broadcast. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM Busan 영어방송.
Want to be a friend of BFM Busan 영어 방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM Busan 영어 방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's now 8 o'clock. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan. This is Spotlight News. Prosecutor General resigns and warns against rushed reform. Prosecutor General Shin Woo-jung handed in his resignation yesterday while expressing concerns over the Lee Jae-myung government's push for prosecutorial reform. In a brief statement, Shim warned that a reform that has its timeline and outcomes already decided could lead to serious unintended consequences for the country's criminal justice system, calling for in-depth discussions that will truly serve the public. On the same day, the administration reshuffled top-level prosecutors, including No Man-seok as the Deputy Prosecutor General, Chung Jin-ho as the top prosecutor for the Seoul Central District Office, and Lee Min-jung as the head of the Seoul Eastern District Office. Special counsel and Yoon Suk-yeol torn over next summons. The special counsel led by Cho In-suk has again rejected former President Yoon Suk-yeol's request to postpone his summons scheduled for this Saturday, July 5th by 1 hour. The special counsel notified Yoon's defense of the new date after the former president failed to show up to the summons scheduled for yesterday morning. The counsel has effectively given an ultimatum, adding that if the former president does not comply with his summons, it may look into filing a warrant for his detention. No change in radiation levels over North Korea's suspected nuclear waste discharge. The Unification Ministry said yesterday that no meaningful changes in radiation density levels have been detected in the Yellow Sea following claims that North Korea released unpurified radioactive wastewater. One domestic outlet focusing on North Korea had reported that a uranium refinery in Pyeongsan County had been dumping uranium waste into waters and rivers that flow into South Korea. The ministry said that although it has seen no meaningful change, it is in close communications with other ministries as the matter directly concerns the people's health and safety as well as the environment. Record June heat wave leads to surge in heat-related illnesses. The number of patients visiting the country's emergency rooms with heat-related symptoms has increased by almost 20% in 1 year amid the record-breaking heat. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, KDCA, said that 470 people have visited some 500 ERs nationwide for heat-related symptoms as of May 15th, including 45 on Monday alone. 3 people are suspected of having died from heat-related causes. Meanwhile, several cities broke their daily average temperatures for the month of June, including Busan at 26.2 degrees Celsius. That's according to the Korea Meteorological Administration. U.S. Senate narrowly passes Trump's major tax and spending bill. Senate Republicans narrowly passed the tax and spending bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill pushed by President Donald Trump, ending weeks of debate and putting it closer to enactment. Vice President J.D. Vance had to break the tie on Tuesday local time when 3 Republicans voted against the bill, along with all the Democrats in the Republican-controlled Senate. Republicans say that the bill will secure the border, make tax cuts, and cut wasteful spending. The House of Representatives will vote on the bill Wednesday to approve the changes made in the upper chamber, with Trump's deadline to have the bill on his desk before the July 4th weekend. And this was Spotlight News. It is time for Wagu. Haley's back.
Hello again.
Yes. So we're going to get into some really, waggly stories. Stories that make your, as you say, tongues wag. So first up, a major case of violence has broken out in Mexico.
Right. So I do have to warn you, we're going to be talking about some severe violence.
Okay.
So 20 bodies have been found in the Mexican state of Sinaloa.
Oh.
And there's that reaction because this area, to people who have been tuning in, this may be familiar because it is the home of the infamous Sinaloa drug cartel or cartels, where violence has broken out between the factions under the cartel. So state authorities say, and again, please, if you're listening with children, this is inappropriate.
Yes.
4 of the victims have been found decapitated. That means their heads have been removed and their bodies have been found hanging from a bridge off of a main road. So this is sending a clear sign. Another 16, one of them also decapitated. They were found inside a van parked underneath the bridge, and the heads were found inside a bag at the site.
Oh, wow. So we need some more background information behind this recent burst of violence.
Right, and this is why it's getting so much global attention, is because it's not just seems to be underplaying it. It's not just out of what you would consider kind of usual violence between cartels and maybe live fire exchange. It is a clear signal. But June has been the most violent month so far in the Sinaloa drug war. And there's new evidence that this might be expanding because a major rival gang has also joined the conflict. This war has been ongoing. It actually goes back to September of last year. This was also very high profile news because at the time, 2 of the most powerful crime bosses were arrested in Texas in the United States. And this includes a co-founder of the cartel Ishmael, quote-unquote, El Mayo Zambada, and also the infamous El Chapo Guzman's one of his sons. But although they were arrested together, El Mayo actually accuses El Chapo's son of turning him into the U.S. authorities.
Oh.
This is why, it's something we see off of a show, but this is why there are conflicting factions within the cartel that are exchanging fire. So Mexican government has piled thousands of soldiers into the state of Sinaloa, but it's been ineffective. Overall, the war has left apparently almost 3,000 people dead or missing.
Yes.
So El Chapo's sons, they are nicknamed the Chapitos. They have been identified by the U.S. authorities as a major supplier and traffickers of fentanyl to the United States. So there's the bigger picture as the U.S. has declared kind of a war on the supply of fentanyl from Mexico.
Yes. So thank you for giving us an update of sorts of what's happening in Mexico on this story. Up next, many of our listeners have been chiming in with when they started drinking coffee or intaking caffeine, and this age seems to be getting really like earlier and earlier, younger and younger.
Right. So listeners, gather your children actually back to the radio because this is a very important public health issue and also an academic one, perhaps. So it is common. We live in like residential neighborhood to see kids in uniforms like gathered at those low-cost coffee shops, right? That's such a popular part of town, and credit card spending or debit card spending in their case, it backs that up. So with high academic achievement and expectations, it is common to see kids not only drinking coffee, but also energy drinks. So this is according to a Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, KDCA survey amongst 54,000 middle and high school students from last year. Here, almost a quarter, 23.5% said they drink highly caffeinated drinks at least 3 times a week. So we're talking about coffee, coffee-flavored milk, which might sound healthier, but they actually sometimes have higher caffeine than coffee, and also energy drinks. By the way, 23.5%, huge jump from 10 years ago where that rate was 3.3%. And even back in 2019, 12.2%.
Yes, so we need to know the reason behind such a big jump.
Right, so we could say it's demand because kids are faced with pressure, but there's always been academic pressure ever since, schools were a thing in Korea. But then it's also increased access, low-cost coffee places. So these, the rise of the cheaper takeout coffee places, they've been everywhere. And it's a popular socialization location for many kids.
Yes.
And then on top of this, kids are, of course, studying later into the night. And caffeine consumption definitely spikes during exam season, which is also kind of right now, according to many students who have been interviewed.
Right. And the thing is this, so don't we have to worry about the effects of caffeine on, young people?
Right. So, you've heard likely coffee stunts growth.
Yes.
And there are studies that say caffeine kind of stunts the intake of calcium into the body, which is one of the reasons why it may stunt growth.
Yes.
But then let's look at, the actual recommendation. How much caffeine is recommended for teenagers versus how much are they getting? So 1 cup of the larger size coffee, because they're almost a liter at 946 milliliters at low-cost coffee places, they have 290 milligrams of caffeine. Remember that, 290? That's actually almost double the daily recommended amount for a teenager that weighs 60 kilograms, and many teens, there are those of you who don't. That recommended amount is 150 milligrams. Yeah, so that's, if you are drinking coffee, drink only half of that.
Okay.
Even coffee-flavored milk that you can get at convenience stores, 커피우유, pretty much same amount of caffeine. A 500 milliliter carton of coffee milk will have 240 milligrams of caffeine, still way above the recommended amount. And then these days, you see caffeinated gummies, caffeine jelly. And they have extracts from the tropical fruit called guarana, which has caffeine in it, but they're sold as like wake-up gummies or concentration gummies. So people don't realize what they are. And, you chew them down like candy because they are candy.
Right.
But also, you can't really keep track of how much caffeine you've consumed via these gummies.
Sure.
So experts actually warn because we get it. You want to study later into the night, and really adults are to blame. But side effects include anxiety, nausea, and sleep deprivation, and that can actually hinder your studies in the longer term.
Yes.
So the Minister of Food and Safety, Drug Safety, is going to mandate that solid foods like these gummies that have guarana to have high caffeinated labels on them. But also as parents, teachers, just general adult figures, let's warn them about, how much caffeine could be in everyday items.
Right. And also I think they're emulating like adults' behavior.
That
like,
too.
like it's so cool. Everybody has a S brand, like, tumbler or a drink in their hand. It's like almost a must have.
Also, it's mostly water in my S brand tumbler. But yeah, it is. I know.
Yes.
It's it's adults' responsibility partially too.
All right, up next, Seoul City is cracking down against subway fare evaders.
So we're talking about 무임승차 or like illegal, not just free riders or senior citizens too, but subway fare evaders or fare dodgers. So Seoul Metro is taking really these violations very, very seriously.
Yes.
There's one particular case that's a man in his 40s used his mother's free subway card because she's over the age of 65 to go from his home to work and back. That's between Gachisan in Seoul and Gimpo Airport Station on 414 different occasions.
That's a lot of occasions.
That's a lot of occasions, you're right. And then, guys, there's technology. The cards are tagged and you can check CCTV. Because you can argue like, that was my mom. This is Korea. There are CCTVs everywhere. So the employees at the station analyzed the data, caught him, and imposed an 18 million won penalty, 1,800만 won. Of course, that is way beyond what he would have paid had he just paid.
Yes.
So why? Because the Metro is actually taking these cases all the way to court. So since 2022 to last year, they've caught 56,000 fare evaders.
Really?
For real. Resulting in some 2.6 billion won in penalties imposed. This year, 27,000 cases and 1.3 billion won. So why sudden jump?
Yes.
Because like in Busan, we have the Dongbak Pass, and then nationwide, there's a Gihu Dongen Card, the kind of the K Pass. So because it actually kind of pays more to take subways or in public transportation more, there are more violations. So, by the way, it's not just like jumping the turnstile or using like your mom's free card, but also like a family sharing that one Gihu Dongen card, the K-Pass card or Dongbekjeon card to tag it. Because for Dongbekjeon, for example, once you go past the 45,000 won point, you get kind of more money back the more you take it, takes public transportation.
Okay.
So some people will like use one card between 2 or 3 people.
Never even crossed my mind.
I know. People are so smart, but then in the wrong direction, kind of. By the way, a little tidbit. A penalty, 부가금, is not a criminal fine, but if you don't pay that penalty, then it becomes a crime.
Oh.
Yeah, so and then Seoul Metro has filed separate civil lawsuits on top of that to execute the fines. It's fined 120 civil suits against fare evaders so far. This is just a case of Seoul, so please be aware.
Oh, yes, and let's not share cards. Please.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, for our last story, we want to end it on a good one. Is it a good one?
It's a small but a good note still.
Okay.
So a young woman walked into a franchise like meal box 도시락 place in Seoul owned by one Ms. Han.
Okay.
And she would have been the first customer of the day. Some people do take that kind of seriously, like it sets a tone.
Yes.
But when she tried to take the woman's order, the woman actually said, are you actually looking for a part-time job, or do you have a part-time job available? So, and then at this point, the owner noticed she was wearing a very thick jacket in the middle of summer and had a bag full of clothes. So it seems that she was unhoused or homeless. So at that point, the woman asked the owner, Han, can I borrow 2,000 won to take the bus or the subway? It's 2,000won, right? It's under $2. But some people, again, would have, because she was the first customer, it's like we haven't even opened the cash box yet. Right. They could have like kicked her out, but she did give her 2,000 won and the woman left. And Han wrote about this encounter on the business owner's social media online community site, saying that I actually can't stop thinking about her. She was like almost my daughter's age. And I think the next time if she comes back, I might, try to set her up with a job or at least offer her a warm meal.
Okay.
So, this isn't like a huge amount. It is what she asked for, but a lot of people don't, would have turned that down. So one comment that I do want to highlight is I wish we could live in a world where giving someone in need just $2 would be normalized. We could normalize that.
It's not an outlier or just a one-off, right?
Small gestures.
Okay, what a great story to end it on. So thank you for that one. And we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great day.
All right, everybody. It's now time for your updated traffic and weather. It's now 17 minutes past the hour. It's 8:17. Here's your traffic update. It looks backed up on Mandok-daedo from the Sukdung to Deokjeon intersection and also from Minam to Mandok intersection. It's congested on the Dongseol overpass from Kamjeon ramp to the old Gaegeum toll gate. There is some traffic on Gaya-daedo from Daenjeong station to Judae intersection. And it's also slow on Chungjang-daedo from pier number 4 to pier number 3. Currently, it is 28 degrees Celsius already here in Busan with a heatwave special alert. This is 폭염 특보 and a heatwave impact report, 폭염 영향 예보 over the city. It's expected to go up to 33 degrees Celsius under clear skies for an even hotter day than yesterday. Across the nation, mostly very hot under a heatwave special report with daytime highs expected to go up to 36 degrees in some parts. Chances of showers in some areas right next to the capital area, Gangwon, and also Gyeongsang. This was your traffic and weather. And this is Hot Summer by FX. It's time for your special interview. Even if you're not that into fashion, chances are you have heard of this name, Anna Wintour, who has served as the editor-in-chief of Vogue since 1988. Known as kind of the fashion Bible, Vogue has long set the tone for global trends in style, beauty, and culture. And just days ago, its legendary editor-in-chief announced that she will be stepping down from the role she has held for nearly 4 decades, so 37 years when it comes to, Vogue, the U.S. version of it anyways. Her departure marks the end of an era and raises important questions about how the fashion world is responding and what the next chapter might look like. To talk about this issue, we have Professor Eugenia Policelli, professor and founder of fashion studies at the City University of New York Graduate Center and co-director of the Fashion Institute at the Graduate Center at this university as well. So let's say hi to her. Hi, welcome to the program.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, Professor, if you could briefly introduce who this Anna Wintour is and why she holds such an iconic status in the fashion world?
For many reasons. I think Anna Wintour, when she started to direct Vogue in 1988, replacing Grace Mirabella, she really was able to transform the magazine into a huge, powerhouse, understanding also that fashion was at the time in which fashion in the media and in society and in culture was becoming more and more prominent, not just, from a commercial side, but also understanding the power of fashion to communicate certain ideas and ideals. So she was able to, but of course, this kind of job has changed drastically since she started a career, because, she was more involved in the way, at the time editors or journalists used to work in selecting photographers, styling, outfits and all that. She was gradually able, because of her talent, because of her understanding and work, becoming an icon, international icon, and, and Vogue becoming not only Vogue, just the magazine, but also the fact that she was able to transform the Met Gala. She's the chair of the Met Gala. Such an important global platform, fundraising for the museum, but also, a moment that everybody watches from all over the world.
Yes.
And I think that, she's one of the most prominent people in the fashion world.
Yes.
The other thing is that she also understood at some point, not just the power of putting models on the cover of the magazines, but also, first ladies, celebrities. Madonna was in the cover. So then Vogue and fashion also became and is, of course, part of a larger platform, popular culture, celebrity culture. So she really was able to act, on that and deliver a certain message.
Yes. And so, how would you describe the most significant ways Vogue has changed since her tenure, since she took over the leadership in 1988? I mean, what impact has she had?
Well, but the world of magazines completely changed drastically, I think, because of the digital, kind of revolution. So there are other platforms now. People don't, the magazine has shrank, of course, all magazines, some of them. So Vogue was able to, resist, but there is there are other, there's a podcast, there is old content that goes digital. So it's very complex because the world is completely changed, the world of media, and communication, and how the people get access, to fashion, So if you think about it, that going to a fashion show was such an elitist kind of thing, but now you can actually participate just streaming. Everybody can have access. So there is TikTok, all the social media and platforms. So of course, the world has completely changed, and I think she's part of this. I think completely aware, of course. But it's not really, the other thing is that, of course, she's stepping down from one position, but she's actually taking more power within the Condé Nast, organization, because she is going to be global editorial director, right? So then everybody is going to respond to her. The editors and other magazines, not just Vanity Fair and Architectural Digest, Bon Appetit, and other magazines, of the brand. And also, she's going to be the global chief content officer of Condé Nast. So, yes, she's stepping down from one position, but from what it appears, she's going to gain more power within this, the Condé Nast brand and Vogue, of course. Less micromanaging, right? So not the day-to-day, but will be people had to respond to her.
So speaking of her leadership, maybe not micromanaging at this point, what do you think has made her leadership style so effective, or in some cases even controversial?
Well, because of course the fashion world, especially now, I think we are in a complex transition globally. I think because of the several, competition, huge competition, is not like one country dictating or one continent dictating. It's very, the competition has been bigger and bigger in the last few years, but also the creativity of in different countries. It's not just Europe anymore. Sure. So there are a lot of issues regarding in the fashion industry and also outside that are have to do with the issues of thinness, sizing, race, so inclusiveness. And so this, especially in the political climate that we are living right now, it's quite challenging, but at the same time, these are important issues, and sometimes there's been a lot of debate about the latest Met exhibition and gala dedicated, to Black designers, right? And sometimes she's been criticized because not really espousing the diversity kind of. But again, the fashion world is a very complex, and sometimes it's also responsible in some cases to promote certain ideals, that are not always inclusive.
Yes,
so to
yes.
speak, in terms of race, body, etc.
Yes. Well, Professor, now that she's at least stepping down from this particular role at Vogue, the U.S. version of Vogue, do we know who her successor is, or if there's going to be some new changes at hand at Vogue?
I cannot answer the question, about the successor. Surely she will choose, one connected. But I think it's going to be, because there are a lot of challenges ahead. I forgot also to mention, I guess, only the question of race, diversity, but it's also the question of climate change and sustainability, and how also that part is very challenging now for production, of the industry. So these are all on the table, and I think this kind, it's going to be also rethinking the role of a magazine in a world that is becoming more and more the complex and questions of creativity cannot be divorced, but questions of inclusivity, programs, education, and how you educate, the designers to be. So all that. And I think the role of the magazine itself now in the 21st century completely changed, from the way it was. And even when Anna Wintour started, is another era.
Yes, indeed.
In terms of communication and how people interact through, as I said, different platforms.
Yes. Well, we're going to have to call it a wrap for today. We've run out of time, but thank you so much, Professor, for coming on air with us to explain some changes that are ahead for Vogue and, of course, for Anna Wintour as well. So thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. This was Professor Eugenia Policelli. We talked about this major move from U.S. Vogue with Anna Wintour stepping down. But as the professor explained, she will be staying or actually switching roles. So she'll be working with Condé Nast on a different level from this day forward, or at least moving forward. We're going to take a song break. This is Vogue by Madonna.
Marlon Brando, Jimmy Dean, on the cover of a magazine. Grace Kelly, Harlow Jean, picture of a beauty queen. Jean Kelly, Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, dance on air. They had style, they had grace. Rita Hayworth gave good face. Lauren, Catherine, Manitou. Betty Davis, we love you. Ladies with an attitude. Fellas that were in the mood. Don't just stand there, let's get to it. Strike a pose, there's nothing to it. Vogue. Vogue.
It's time for Work in Progress. We have Jennifer here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did you sleep well last night?
Oh, not really. It's so hot. And then the humidity, it's so high.
I know. It's like, that's like the worst mixture ever. Heat, humidity together. It's like, ugh.
Even in the morning, even at night.
Right.
Yeah, temperature doesn't drop.
It doesn't. And it's like, I take like mini showers, just like, just a little bit of showering.
Yeah.
And then, you feel better for like 30 minutes. And then you're like, oh,
yeah. It starts again.
I have a question for you. For a text topic, we're talking about coffee intake. Like, when did you start drinking coffee? That's our first question.
Okay.
Like on a regular basis, not like,
trying a sip or...
Yeah, trying a sip of mom's coffee. Yes.
I think from college days. Yeah.
Yes.
Or maybe... in high school? I don't remember exactly. But
so like nowadays, now that you're a full-grown adult, is there like a maximum time where you like say, hey, this is my last cup of coffee, or you're not affected by caffeine?
I'm not really affected by caffeine, but but I try not to drink more than 3 cups.
Yeah. Oh, 3 cups. That's a lot.
Yeah, I do.
but it's okay. I'm not judging.
But I that's the first thing I need in the morning, cup of coffee.
Oh, I fully understand.
To wake up, yeah.
Yes. We're going to jump into our segment, Work in Progress. So what do you have for us today?
Today we are diving into the evolving world of work hours, especially the ongoing conversation around reducing the standard work week to 4.5 days or even 4 days.
4.5요? I don't like the 0.5. Like, 4 days.
It's a lot of hassle just going into work. And
why?
Then,
what's the point?
You come back after like lunch break.
I don't get it. Okay, well, that it's definitely been a hot topic as of late, and I've seen and read articles saying some companies are already experimenting with these type of systems, right?
Yeah, surprisingly, that's right. While Korea is still debating the 4.5-day proposal, some startups and mid-sized firms have already gone ahead and implemented 4-day work weeks on their own. They say it helps attract the talent and boosts employee morale. What do you think?
Attract me. No, I'm just kidding. PD님 and I were so on that boat. So the 4-day work week. But I do imagine not every company, especially like, radio or like broadcasting.
Certain industries.
You just can't have a 4-day weekend.
Exactly.
It's going to be real tough, right?
Yeah. Shorter work weeks can only succeed when paired with thoughtful planning. You can't just say, okay, from this week we are going to go ahead with a 4-day a week.
That's true.
It requires a streamlined workflows, clear expectations, and mutual trust, of course.
Right. And as much as we joke about it, like, can you imagine like Morning Wave in Busan being on air for just like 4 days? Like Monday through Thursday or like Tuesday through Friday. It just, for our show, it just wouldn't work because we do like so much news, right?
No.
What else do companies need?
Well, companies need systems to support reduced hours without hurting productivity.
Yes.
But of course, that only works if employees maintain a strong sense of responsibility and work ethic at the same time. Yeah.
That's a really important point because there's always that worry that some might take advantage of the system. Someone always says, right?
Employees need to focus during work hours and deliver results. So otherwise, it just puts more strain on others.
That's true.
Or the company as a whole. And from the management perspective, it can be frustrating when a few team members misuse the system and making it harder to justify or sustain such policies.
Yeah, so I guess that kind of behavior really does affect more than just productivity. If some people aren't pulling their own weight, others, they have to bear the burden, and then they're going to feel really resentful.
Yeah, we'll hear it's unfair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's in some cases, it creates silent divide in the workplace. So that's why open communication and clear accountability are essential, because some people may feel they are doing more than their share.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So everyone needs to be on the same page, not just about workload, but also about the values behind the system.
So let's talk about the actual benefits. And this is assuming that things are done right.
Yeah, of course, there are benefits. Studies have shown that shorter work weeks can reduce burnout, improve mental health, and even raise productivity. When people have more time to rest and spend with their family, they tend to come back with focus and positive energy.
Who says you have to spend time with your family? I'm just kidding.
Maybe not always like coming back with a positive energy, but sometimes more stress.
So just time off.
Yeah, time off.
That sounds like a win-win.
Yeah, that's right. And globally, we are seeing some countries try it. In Iceland, for example, a major trial showed no drop in output when workers switch it to a 4-day week. And in the UK, some companies even reported higher productivity. And Belgium introduced the policy in 2022, allowing employees to request a 4-day work week without loss of pay, which is great.
Yes.
With longer daily hours, of course. And Spain and New Zealand have also piloted reduced work programs, reduced hours programs.
Yes, but I'm sure there are also cases where it, just doesn't go well or it didn't go well.
Yeah. Well, not it doesn't work for every company and in every country. Of course, there are like some companies that they've tried it and it's not like really working out.
Right.
In some companies, the reduced schedule created confusion, uneven workloads, or even lower morale, especially when expectations weren't clearly defined. If the structure isn't solid or if the workload stays the same, employees just end up feeling more stress in less time, and they may even end up taking work home.
We don't want that. Yeah. But I mean, once again, like we said earlier on, it might depend on the industry you're working in.
Oh, that's a really important point. In creative or tech-driven sectors where results matter more than presence itself, shorter work weeks can work well. But in industries like retail, logistics, education, radio, or healthcare, where people have to be physically present, it's a much harder model to apply. There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
And so do you think that this could really become the norm in Korea, or is it just kind of like in theory?
Well, in some industries, but it will take time, definitely. Right now, public opinion is divided. Some people worry it would just create confusion or add stress by squeezing the same workload into like fewer days.
Right.
And others point out the burden it might place on business owners, especially in smaller companies with tight margins.
Yes, and we have to keep in mind, I mean, Korea used to be kind of like a 6-day work week kind of,
even 7 days. Long
True.
time ago.
Long time ago, it was like 7. And then we reduced it to 6. 6 was like the norm for a long time. People even went to school on Saturdays, like a half day, right?
Yeah.
And then we got to the 5-day work week. But now we want a 4-day, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
who knows what may happen in the future.
Yes. So it's not just about like fewer hours, but actually making them smarter hours.
Exactly. Good point. Efficiency, communication, and fairness, they all matter. And it's said before, as mentioned before, not every job fits the model, unfortunately.
Yes.
Such as service workers or manufacturing roles. It's just, I can't imagine it working well. For them, flexibility might look a little bit different. Also, workers must meet this change with a strong work ethic.
Right.
If shorter hours are seen as a chance to just slack off, the system simply won't last.
Yes. We have a message from Umberto who says, my company gives me every other Friday off. So if you work 10 hours every day, let's say Monday through Thursday, you get every Friday off. So that's me right now, meaning he actually works 10 hours from Monday through Thursday, and then he gets every Friday off.
Sounds good.
It does sound good.
I'm sure some people are jealous.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
So cultural differences, I'm sure, play a role too, because in some places, leaving on time is kind of the norm. But we all know in Korea, everybody plays, nowadays it's a little bit different. But in some companies, there's still that nunchi game going on, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's true. In many Asian cultures, including Korea, there's still a tendency to associate visibility with the performance.
Yes.
You gotta be there. That mindset is slowly shifting, of course, but it can be a barrier to fully embracing new work models.
Yes. So in your opinion, what is like the next step then?
Well, I think Korea needs to experiment more. It's too early to say it may succeed or not. With the pilot programs, we need to try it, and see how it works. And we can support for both. We can make a program that supports both employers and workers at the same time. We should also look at the lessons from other countries, but adapt them to our own context.
Right.
We can't just follow the exact same model,
Of course, it's not cookie cutter.
No.
We have to make it work for our, country, our culture, our society, and of course the industry, the company, etc. So to wrap up, I guess shorter work weeks could work.
Yeah.
But, that's once again, as you said, the companies, the workers, if they can approach this with some realistic goals, though, right?
Yeah, couldn't have said better.
Okay.
It's not about working less, it's about working better or more efficiently.
And ultimately, let's say you have a 4-day work week. I mean, you're still doing probably 40 hours. Like Umberto said, I mean, instead of working 8 hours, you're working 10 hours per day, but you do have that 1 day off. So anyhow.
Well, would you be willing to work on Saturdays if you got extra pay?
We heard a little
repeating
no there.
I was said
my
no
immediately.
immediately.
I froze because I'm like, how much are we talking about?
I think it depends on the amount, right?
If you're saying 1.5, no. But if you're saying
double, triple,
I'm there.
Yeah.
Well, when do we need it on Saturday? So anyhow, thank you so much for bringing us a very interesting, we need to think about this more and have conversations.
Yeah.
We'll definitely check in with you next week. Thank you, Jennifer.
We'll do. Bye-bye.
All right. So that was work in progress. And I do want to say, it's been so extremely hot, as everybody has been saying these past few days. And it's really important to stay up to date on the latest weather information. So monitor any possible heat stroke symptoms, sunburns, heat rash, and more. So you can block direct sunlight from getting into your home via shades or even those window films. And when you leave, make sure you wear sunscreen, hat, and other ways protective of your skin, of your health. So you want to block out that direct sun. And also be aware of foodborne illnesses and make sure you drink a lot of water or electrolytes. I mean, anything that I make these days, instantly I just put it in the fridge because it goes bad. It spoils so quickly. So we don't want to hear about you getting sick over the summer. All right, let's be cool and safe this summer. Final song for today, What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
You're insecure, don't know what for. You're turning heads when you walk through the door. Don't need makeup to cover up. Being the way that you are is enough. Everyone else in the room can see it. Everyone else but you. Baby, you light up my world like nobody else. The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed. But when you smile at the crowd, like nobody else. The way that you flip your hair gets me overwhelmed. But when you smile at the ground, it ain't hard to tell.